Hi, this is Kenneth Tucker, and today I'm going to be demoing my CS406 class project. It's a mobile phone application called iRestaurant that allows a user to create their own private review notes about restaurants that they've visited, including selecting a place, star rating, writing a headline, and a description. The app is implemented using Flutter for the front end, including some plugins such as RiverPod for state management and Google Maps for selecting places on a visual map. The back end is implemented using Google's cloud products, including Cloud Firestore for storing reviews in a database, and Google Places API for fetching place data. So first I'm going to demo creating a new review. So we'll press the plus icon in the top right. You'll see that a map pane has opened and all the previous reviews have shifted down. We're going to allow location access, and the map will update to my location, including a marker for that longitude and latitude. It's a standard Google Maps. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can click and drag to move the map about. And then I also have it to where if you single click, it will update the location that the search will take place. So let's go ahead and search for Mexican restaurants near this location. You'll see that it shows markers for the top 5 results, and it shows the info pane for the top result. Let's go ahead and select this option. Okay, and let's go ahead and give it a review. Let's say 5 stars. Okay, and then we'll submit it, and you'll see that new entry appear at the top. And there was also a new entry over here. Let's see, here it is. You can see all the information we entered, including a timestamp for when we submitted the review. And then the place data includes not only the city and the name, but also the latitude and longitude, and then a place ID that uniquely identifies the place in Google's Places API. Okay, now we can go ahead and also edit. We can pick, let's say, this one. And we can change pretty much anything. You know, we can change the rating. And, you know, we can update that. We can also update the place. We'll do that next. Now you saw the update. It reflected our changes, and then also it updated on the database side as well. Okay, we can also change the place. You know, let's say for this one I put it in the wrong place. You know, we can go in and edit it. We can cancel out too, if we wish. Let's say we wanted to pick a different Thai restaurant to give a review for. You'll see that it popped up 5 results, and then of course the one we had previously was the top result because it's the nearest one. Let's say we pick this one. You will notice that this place got updated. And let's go ahead and submit that, and you'll see that the place changed. Okay, we can also delete entries. You know, let's say this review is old and I don't want it anymore. Maybe same with this one. And you'll see that the list and the database both updated. Okay, so that's the list and the various CRUD operations. I'll also show the account management. So we'll go ahead and log out of this user. And let's say we're going to create a new account. So first page that first screen you see is the login screen, including this icon and the title and a standard sign-in page provided by Google. You provide some customization arguments for that. Let's go ahead and register. So, let's just give a fake email. And you'll see that it created a new account, and we don't have any reviews for this account. We could create one real quick just to show that it's a different list and we aren't seeing the entries from the previous user. So we can also, it's a standard Google search, so it's you can also put in the city to go there without having to manually scroll all the way. So let's say we went to this place and, we enter that, and you'll notice that it was added and it has a different UID, so we're keeping track of separate lists for separate users. Okay, so that's a demonstration of all the parts of my app. I'll briefly cover the code. So the top level, inside the main function, we create our My App, and this drills down into this auth gate, which handles the user authentication, including rendering the login page, handling the changing of users. So the main way that that's done is through watching this auth state changes and listening to that. We make sure to clear our review list and load new entries when the user changes. We also will show a sign-in screen if there is no logged in user. Use the email provider. Just some formatting here. And then eventually, once we log in, we'll show this reviews screen. This file is rather large, so I'm only going to show the class headings, but the review screen is the top level. It defines the screen structure, including the top bar, the plus button, and just kind of the top level visual elements of the screen. And then this reviews list is where it gets more interesting. This is where we render each of those panes, including the view panes where we're not editing, we're just inspecting an existing entry, it renders a map pane, it will render a form, just depending on what state the review is in. So this display mode dictates how we are currently rendering a particular review. This was probably one of the more challenging bits to understand, was how to switch between the different panes. And I tried to incorporate RiverPod into this to help out. So I'm going to skip to that part. So this class is the provider for state changes to the review list. So we separate out the presentation and the logic as best we can. So in here we keep track of the reviews, including loading them from the database. We'll perform the query here on the Firestore. You can see that we only select those reviews for the current user, and then we order them by the date, and then we add all these reviews that we get to our list of review models, and then update that state, and then that will update the classes below that we saw that render the state as widgets that are visual elements that we can see on the screen. Various methods here for different changes of state for a review. If it's a new review, we want to add a map at the top. We saw that earlier. We can submit different edits and handle that. I've commented the code here so you can look at it more closely. And then I also created a separate helper widget for the map because it was fairly complicated, and I wanted to separate that out. So we have our data class for a place. This is the information that the app cares about for dealing with places. So then we also have stateful widgets for the map, because the map itself has to keep track of its own state, including, has it obtained the permissions from the user for location, has, it has a controller for the map, which is state that Google Map needs itself. We also keep track of the current latitude and longitude, camera position, and various markers that we want to show. I also have different handling for, if it's a new map, we want to center it initially on where the user currently is, but if they're editing an existing map, then it's better to select, or rather to center the map on the existing entry. We saw that difference earlier in the demo. So you can see here, for example, that we'll create a marker for the previous value from that initial data that we pass into the widget. And then here's a helper to get the current location. You can see that we go through different steps to get permissions and then eventually get the user's location if they allow it. If they don't, then we just center on a kind of a default location in New York City. And then our search here, we do an HTTP request to the Google Places API, and we include the text that we entered into the box, and we limited on restaurants and then just 5 results, and we bias the search around where our current latitude and longitude is. And we build up that request, we get the response, and then we parse the response, extracting, for example, getting the city out of the address components structure that they give us, and determine our place, and then create a marker that when we tap on it, it will cause this widget to pass back up to the parent the selected place, and then close out the map. And yeah, just some different management of markers there, and deciding how to show the marker. This was particularly challenging. I ended up just using a timer to trigger any marker changes. It looks kind of nice too. You see the marker for a little bit and then the text pop up. And then we use a stack to layer the map below the search and the cancel button. And yeah, that covers my project. Thank you very much.